Hello, my friend. Welcome to this video. Before we begin, let me ask you one simple question. Have you ever felt that you understand English, but when it is time to speak, your mind goes empty? You know the words, you know the grammar, but your mouth stays silent. If this sounds like you, then this video is for you. Today, I will share a simple life story, a story that will help you learn English, build confidence, and finally start speaking without fear. This is not just an English lesson. This is a real story. A story about thinking less and speaking more. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin this journey together. My name is Daniel. For most of my life, I thought anger was just part of who I was. I didn't choose it. It chose me. I woke up with it. I carried it to work. I took it home to the people I loved. And every time I said, "This is the last time," anger came back stronger. I was not a bad person. I worked hard. I tried to be kind. But when something went wrong, even something small, my mood changed instantly. A slow internet connection, a careless comment, someone disagreeing with me. My chest would tighten, my breath would get fast, and my mind would lose control. Anger didn't just control my reactions. It controlled my relationships. People around me started to walk carefully. They chose their words. Some stopped talking to me at all. I didn't notice it at first, but one day I looked around and realized something painful. I was often alone, even when people were near. One night, after an argument that started over nothing, I sat quietly in my room. My hands were shaking, not from shouting, but from regret. I asked myself a question I had never asked before. What if anger is not power, but weakness? That question changed everything. I started observing myself, not judging, just watching. I noticed how anger always appeared before I spoke. It was fast, automatic, like a program running in my mind. And I realized something important. Anger is not who you are. It is something you do. And if it is something you do, it is something you can learn to stop. This is when my journey began. Not to destroy anger, but to understand it. I learned that anger is often a signal. It hides fear. It hides pain. It hides unmet expectations. And when you don't understand the signal, you react. When you understand it, you respond. That night, I made a promise to myself. I will learn how to pause. I will learn how to breathe. I will learn how to take my power back. And this is where your story and my story meet. Because if anger controls your mood, your reactions, or your relationships, this is not the end. It is the beginning. In the next part, I will show you the first practical step to stop anger before it speaks for you. Understanding the fire inside. I remember the first time I truly noticed my anger. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, tight, and heavy inside my chest. Every small thing could trigger it. A late message, a wrong word, a simple mistake. On the outside, I looked calm, but inside, my mind was racing. I replayed conversations again and again. I imagined arguments that never happened. I punished myself with thoughts. This is when I learned the first important lesson. Anger is not the problem. Uncontrolled thinking is. Anger is just energy. It is your body saying, something feels wrong. But when you don't understand it, that energy turns against you. I used to believe that strong people never get angry. I was wrong. Strong people notice their anger early. So I started doing something simple. When anger appeared, I didn't react. I didn't speak. I didn't decide anything. I just asked myself one question. What am I afraid of right now? Sometimes I was afraid of being disrespected. Sometimes I was afraid of losing control. Sometimes I was afraid of looking weak. Anger was just a mask. Fear was the real source. This changed everything. Instead of fighting people, I started understanding myself. I slowed down my breathing. I relaxed my shoulders. I gave myself time. And slowly, something powerful happened. The fire inside me didn't disappear. It became light instead of heat. I realized you don't need to kill your anger, you need to guide it, and that is where real power begins. The turning point, choosing calm over control. By the third week, something had quietly changed inside Daniel. He didn't notice it at first. There was no dramatic moment, no loud victory, just a small pause, one breath longer than usual, before reacting. One afternoon, a colleague interrupted him during a meeting. The old Daniel would have felt his chest tighten, his jaw lock, his mind rush to defend itself. Anger used to arrive fast, like fire. But this time, Daniel felt it rise, and then stop. He remembered what he had been practicing. Anger is not the problem. The loss of control is. Instead of reacting, he listened. He noticed his thoughts clearly, as if they were subtitles on a screen. He is disrespecting me. I need to prove myself. I am losing control. For the first time, Daniel questioned those thoughts. Is this true? Is this helpful? Will reacting make this better? The answer was no. So he stayed silent for 2 seconds, then 5. Then he spoke calmly. Something surprising happened. The room changed. The tension disappeared. The conversation became respectful again. And Daniel felt something new. Not anger, not fear, but power. That night, Daniel reflected on a powerful lesson. Anger feels strong, but calm is stronger. Anger pushes you to react. Calm allows you to choose. He began to understand that anger often hides deeper emotions. Fear of being ignored, fear of losing respect, fear of not being enough. When he addressed those fears instead of fighting people, anger lost its grip. From that day on, Daniel added one new habit to his life. Before responding in any emotional situation, he asked himself one question. What kind of person do I want to be in this moment? Not, how do I win? How do I dominate? How do I release this anger? But, how do I be? Do I act with strength and clarity? This simple question became his anchor. Anger still appeared, but it no longer controlled him. He was learning the truth. You don't defeat anger by fighting it. You defeat it by understanding it. And this understanding was changing everything. Learning to respond, not react. By this stage of the story, I had learned something very important. Anger is fast, but wisdom is slow. Anger wants an instant reaction. Wisdom asks for a pause. I remember one clear moment. Someone spoke to me in a very disrespectful way. Old me would have exploded. My body felt the same signals again: tight chest, fast breathing, hot face. But this time, I noticed them. I said to myself, this is anger rising. I don't have to follow it. So I stayed silent for a few seconds. I took one slow breath in and one slow breath out. That small pause changed everything. Instead of reacting with anger, I responded with calm words. The situation did not get worse. In fact, it ended quickly. This taught me a powerful lesson. You don't control the world, but you can control your response. When you react with anger, you give your power away. When you respond calmly, you take your power back. From that day, I practiced this skill every day. When I felt angry, I asked myself simple questions. Is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? What is the calmest response right now? These questions slowed my mind down. They helped my English too because I started thinking before speaking. My words became clearer. My sentences became calmer. People understood me better. Anger also affects relationships. When anger controls you, people feel unsafe around you. But when you stay calm, people listen. They respect you. Calm communication is a strong form of influence. I realized something else. Anger often hides fear or pain. When I felt angry, I looked deeper. Was I afraid of being disrespected? Was I tired? Was I stressed? Understanding the real reason helped the anger lose its power. Every time I chose calm over anger, I became stronger, not loud, not aggressive, strong in a quiet way, and slowly my life began to change. Take control and take action. By now, you understand something very important. Anger is not your enemy. Uncontrolled anger is. You learned that anger is a signal. You learned how to pause before reacting. You learned how to breathe, think, and choose better words. And you learned that controlling anger is a skill, not a talent. But knowledge alone is not enough. Change only happens when you practice. From today, do this. When you feel anger rising, stop for 5 seconds. Take one deep breath. Ask yourself one simple question. Will this reaction help me or hurt me? Most of the time, silence is strength. Calm words are power, and walking away is victory. Remember, the strongest people are not those who shout the loudest. They are the ones who stay calm when others lose control. If you practice this every day, your life will change. Your relationships will improve, your confidence will grow, and people will respect you more without you saying a word. If this lesson helped you, like this video. If you want to improve your English and your mindset, subscribe to this channel, and in the comments, write one sentence. I choose calm over anger. Thank you for watching. Your new life starts with your next reaction.